Doing all the things that are easy in life is what does well on YouTube. But it's the hard things that do well in real life. Making good choices, finishing projects, seeing things through. But that doesn't do well on YouTube. So I want to keep doing the hard things. So my new YouTube channel, Casey's Golden Shovel, means a lot to me. I'm really enjoying it. It's not just a rant channel. I think it's what I really need to be doing on YouTube because it allows me to talk about concepts of the world and life and history. So I say that for young people, when you're chasing some kind of dream, that's awesome. Chase it. Chase them hard if it's business or whatever you want. But there may come a time when you find out reality is not what you perceived it to be, and it's not worth it. And that's the other reason why I knew it was time to get out, because I just started being a bigger dick to people in the comments, because I don't care. Yes! What's up, people? So I'm back. And many of you have probably noticed I've done a lot less videos on my automotive channel. Really throttled back, and I put a bit less effort in. And for those of you who've been around for the journey for numbers of years now, and maybe even VinWiki, I really appreciate you guys being here. And I'm sure you all have seen that I have been trying to do big things. Things beyond just Automotive YouTube, and in ways connecting it. And this has been stressful, but it's a journey you got to do. So today's video, I wanted to talk about why I've throttled back from the automotive world, and I'm going to kind of stay throttled back. I am going to keep doing this channel, and the fun things you can expect to see, like the Omega car, which is ready to start getting worked on now, and also my new channel, Casey's Golden Shovel, or The Golden Shovel with Casey Putsch, where I'm going to say all the quiet things out loud, but we're going to talk intelligently in a nonpartisan way about things that are going on and use dictionaries going back to the 1800s to really understand the world and life around us in these crazy times. But right now I'm sitting on an exact replica of my childhood go-kart. And for those of you VinWiki OGs, you'll remember some stories of me as a kid zooming around, power sliding, shooting an air gun in a power slide at cans, and driving in a golf driving range and like this, flicking golf balls off the tires. And this is where cars and the love of driving really started for me. This, which is kind of neat, you know, it's cathartic for me to fix this up and do that. But when you're a kid dreaming of the future and being on a go-kart like this and racing and race cars and building cars, I've done all those things. I've done all the dreams that I wanted to do, with very few exceptions. But that's what leads to this video. Now today, I'm going to talk about some things that frankly kind of suck in the car world. They're not fun, but it's not going to be a rant. But the point of this is I want you guys to see where I wanted to go, where I've been, what I've found, and now what I'm going to do. Because honestly, I think it's going to help a lot of people be able to enjoy the car world more. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I mean it in a terms of like, hey, it's been a bumpy road. Maybe you guys want to know what was more fulfilling in the end, right? Well, the tough thing is, and kind of the thesis statement relating to this video is, the sad truth of the matter is, if we're just talking sports cars, exotic cars, racing, vintage cars, concours, cars and coffee, etc., other than just fun and self-expression and art and building things, at the end of the day, it's not fueled by any necessity or moving society or a culture forward. A lot of it's just fueled by ego. You know, the professional racing world, in a matter of speaking, doesn't actually exist. There's no talent scouts like other sports, ball sports and such, out for professional racing. And the vast majority of all the drivers in things like IndyCar or IMSA are just wealthy guys or people from wealthy families. And the so-called sponsors are old connections that go way back that relate to business connections and such that somehow make the industry exist, and or that are from the family or the business portfolio of the drivers who do it. And honestly, other than it being a bigger scale and people take it way more seriously and more money, IMSA is not much different than just vintage racing. At the end of the day, it's gentlemen's racing. It may be more competitive and a lot more money going in, but it's the same thing. And I chase professional racing so hard in so many places. You know, I ran into a lot of roadblocks and snakes and idiots and people who don't get it, but at the end of the day, when I figured it out, it's not the industry we think it is. And I was chasing a reality that didn't exist. And the other thing is I've met numerous professional drivers, people who have actually made a living and get paid to do things like drive in IMSA and other places. One I can think of has a famous last name, so I don't want to say he's coasted on that, but it's highly unlikely he'd be able to do anything if it wasn't for that. And another person that works very hard to be the best and drive well and do everything. But other than that, he's got nothing. He doesn't own a team. He doesn't own any cars. He's not independently wealthy. He doesn't even have a business. He's beholden to wealthy people paying him a little something to drive their car and hoping that the wealthy people still think he needs to be there when everybody else is paying to be there. And while I would love to compete, you know, something I dreamed of doing since I was a kid, I almost got in an argument with this guy because we were talking about the business of it all. And in terms of me connecting with the team and us building something together with media, much bigger for sponsors and racing, because we can more than double the entire exposure of a series just with that team and those sponsors. And he goes, well, Casey, if you can do that, why not just go out and get your own partners and you can pick any team you want? I'm like, well, that makes sense, but what do you mean by partners? Who's going to find partners? What's the business model? And it took me another 2 minutes to figure out that he was using the word partners for sponsors to make it sound more important than it is. And I'm like, hey, in YouTube, we just call a spade and call it a sponsor or commercial. Well, in racing, I told him, I'm like, you know, that makes a lot of sense, but I'm going to be straight with you. If I go out on my own and hypothetically got sponsors because of my exposure on YouTube for racing, I'm sure as not going to waste the money on IMSA or IndyCar or anything else. It's a stupid amount of money being thrown out. And if the sponsors only care about the exposure and what we're doing, I'll go out and buy a vintage Cosworth F1 car for a few $100,000 and take all the best tracks in Europe, maintain it myself, get all the exposure, and actually make a good living. And it was funny because then we about got an argument. He's like, but the competition's better. I'm like, it's business and life. Who gives a crap if there's 100 people vying for 1/10 of a second? You're still racing. It's still a challenge. It's still dangerous. It's more fun and you make money. But that was kind of the end for me. That was the last straw in a way. And I'm just like, and I was going to give him a proposal for the team. And I just said, look, man, if the team wants to talk about it because of the exposure, great. But I'm going to focus on my own business and life and directions because it's better. Because I thought about it. What does that guy have? What do I have? I've already raced. I've already achieved. I've already built. I've already done these things. And if I focus on myself and my own builds, I can go do these things. I don't need to race in some series to feel good about myself anymore. So I say that for young people, when you're chasing some kind of dream, that's awesome. Chase it. Chase them hard if it's business or whatever you want. But there may come a time when you find out reality is not what you perceived it to be, and it's not worth it. Maybe your life is already great, or you can easily have the power to make the actual reality that exists better than the dream you thought it would be. So that's a long thing. But the other thing about the car world in general, it's just been giving me bad gut feelings. And I had heard somebody recently say, your gut is never wrong. It never lies to you. Well, that's pretty good wisdom, honestly. And what I mean to say is in the last number of years, especially doing YouTube and just pushing the throttle all the way forward and burning the candle at both ends and all that, there's been a lot of crap that's come that way. I mean, just for a small example, when I wanted to race karts, just karts here locally, like I used to do when I was younger, for fun, we go to this street race. My kart legitimately gets sabotaged. People are legitimately, highly dangerously, and just zero sportsmanship trying to take me out on the track, despite them being slower. I still won, I still triumph, but then they play politics. It was the biggest shit show I've ever seen in my life. And I ended up shaking the hands of one of the guys there I knew and I'd be like, hey man, really appreciate everything, but I think I'm done racing in this area. This is stupid and dangerous. And it's sad because if you go somewhere, you can never return home. They don't really want you back because you being there makes them feel worse about themselves in some reason. And when you get idiots yelling at you going, YouTuber, YouTuber, trying to get in a fist fight because they tried to take you out and it didn't work and you still won. They don't like that kind of thing. And so that was a disappointment in a small way. But it even comes down to like car shows. It doesn't matter if it's a car show or a Concours d'Elegance. People want to show off their prized things. And I think the most healthy way to go to those things is just kind of an arm's length. Make friends, enjoy your time there. Don't take it overly seriously because if you make it too much of your life, you're going to get into the crappiest politics in the world. and you're going to be in a teeny tiny fishbowl with a bunch of rich people with nothing better to do. And that's a recipe for not having a good time. You know, something else that bugged me of recent, which I think was a symptom of the idiocy that the car world can be. You know, I always enjoyed Columbus Cars and Coffee. You know, I was part of that since pretty early days when guys used to work at Nelson Lamborghini back when that still existed in Marysville. And they just started it. And it was a great time, you know, when I was single and driving my old blue Viper, we would go for drives and have a great time. We'd have cool parties at cool venues, and that was a lot of fun. And it grew and grew, and Paul Milligan, who runs it, actually does a great job. It's at Midwestern Auto Group, sometimes Esoteric, sometimes I think Meyer Shank Racing, etc. And generally it's well run, you know, and police will be around and stuff, so reminding people to comport themselves well with the traffic and all, and not being stupid. I think generally speaking, people have a great time. So it doesn't matter if somebody shows up in an old 60s Mini or a brand new Lamborghini. I think it's a really good time. And I just always enjoyed that because that was a way to take the love that I have, whatever kooky car it may be at the time, and show up with people that, you know, I like. Maybe they're going somewhere in their own lives, and we just enjoy getting together on that weekend morning and getting a laugh at whatever we're doing. And that was great fun and healthy. But in the recent years or so, there was another Cars and Coffee that I'd like to frequent because it works now that I live in a different place. But it's weird. And it's sort of degraded. There wasn't really any leadership in it. People are starting to do dumb, illegal crap, kind of dangerous crap around it. And it was just, I'm just gonna be honest, it's just low rent and stupid. And what that does is that makes anybody that's self-respecting or has a life or part of a community or has a nicer car or vintage car or exotic car not want to come. And that includes me. It even got so silly as that the last time I went to that Cars and Coffee, I put a picture, I drove the Murcielago, and I posted something on some of my social media, and I go, like, at the Cars and Coffee, I'm like, when the guy with the straight pipe Murcielago is the best behaved person at the Cars and Coffee, it's time to never go back to that Cars and Coffee. I'm like, there are people drag racing, and I'm like, you need to clean this stuff and get this crap out of my town or I will. Well, that triggered an off-duty sheriff's deputy that then starts getting into this pissing match with me and then acting like, who do I think I am for running the town? Well, I think I'm a citizen that wants people to comport themselves a little better in a congested area in a nice community. And speaking of a car guy forever, I know how all this works. So now suddenly I got this law enforcement officer that's super shady on me right now and just like talking mad shit. He's sending me threatening messages and stuff to the point where I went and reported him, officially wrote a report and everything. And I swear to God, it pissed me off more than anything because since I've been on YouTube and doing VinWiki, where most people are scofflaws and dicks and criminals and shit, I've been standing up for law enforcement officers in general, the military, et cetera, and being something of what I would consider a reasonable human being in the car world. And to have an actual law enforcement officer do this and basically threaten me with targeting, oh my fucking God. And I'm just trying to stay cool and still, to an extent, trust the police and law enforcement officers and sheriffs and state troopers and everything in general. But I got to be honest. I am on the I don't trust you side of Reagan's trust but verify right now. So I get how the general public and a lot of people, there's not great relations right now because it just takes one piece of crap to ruin it for everybody. But that's what happened in this car world because it's Cars and Coffee. And at the end of the year, the person privately messages a number of people, including myself, saying, hey, let's have a big talk early in the year, what we're going to do with Cars and Coffee. I think I'm going to stop doing it, which makes sense because he didn't even go to like the last 5. There was no one running it. And so I message him, nothing. I message him a month later, nothing, no response. I'm like, what the heck? And I finally call the dude, and he only had a few minutes, but he talked to me for a while. And some of the things that stuck out me that I'm just like, oh my God, the car world sucks. It's fascinating because he said to me that every single person he messaged to talk about running Cars and Coffee, not one of those people could run Cars and Coffee themselves. That included me, which is astonishing that this person had the unbelievable arrogance to say that. Me alone, like our family ran tons of banquets with 250 plus people, golf outings. I've had public car events lasting multiple days that I've created and ran from the ground up, including polo matches and coordinating everything you can imagine. and even have a YouTube channel together and keeping that going with a large number of people. But I can't possibly run a Facebook group and a Cars and Coffee. And I was just like, wow, okay, don't take that personally. But then this person went in to bash Columbus Cars and Coffee, and I'm like, whoa, it's ran perfectly, it's a joy to go to, it's a lot of fun. And he's like, well, I saw a thing where you have to pay $100 for VI parking to park on a bridge. And I'm like, hold on. That's a standalone special event that relates to Cars and Coffee and isn't the free Cars and Coffee you can go to. And I'm gonna tell you what, it's an absolute delight. It's an amazing event. And this guy was referencing the Arena District like bridge meet for Columbus Cars and Coffee. Absolutely lovely event. I haven't been to it in a number of years because I've been busy doing other things. I just wanna go back, it's so great. But this person that I'm talking to hates it and hates them. And then he goes, oh, I just hate it when there's these douchebags that have their Lamborghinis and take them out. And I'm like, holy crap. Is this guy literally taking a shot at me on a phone call to me after he asked me for help? I think he is. And I'm like, dude, I think if you're running a Cars and Coffee, it's in your own best interest to do your own little bit of due diligence and just go to others and see in what ways are they successful, and you can put that in. He's like, no, I think it should be like the old days where nobody knows about it, it's all underground, and it's just some people that go to it. And it was amazing because I was listening to this guy, and it's bizarre. It's like he wants everybody to be an eccentric kook like him, and anybody that has a higher end car, he hates. And I'm gonna be honest, I can smell jealousy a mile away, and it just reeks of that. And at that point, I'm just like, you know what, man? I agree with you. Good luck. You should do that. I just didn't want to screw with it anymore. I don't care. It's sad, though, because there's nothing good going on in this area except what I call the Boomer Car Show in downtown Perrysburg. You just show up on Friday nights, and it's lovely. Drive the old-timey Buick. Park it, wave at people, say hi. It's lovely. Go downtown with the wife and kid and just do our thing. There's just no BS. And I really like that. I wish there was more of that. But it's been crummy, you guys. And then YouTubers and YouTube. The thing about it is, in doing automotive YouTube and doing VinWiki for numbers of years and being able to do high-end stuff and lower-end stuff, so many of the best things in the car world, the highest-end things that you strive to achieve, do badly on YouTube. The general populace can't relate or doesn't care or is not into it and doesn't suit the algorithm, so you can't really do it. And that sort of took some of the enjoyment out for me because I want to keep going on this journey and road and having the adventures from when I was a kid on a go-kart. But hypothetically speaking, if only people on YouTube watched being a kid on a go-kart and didn't care about anything else that was cool, I'm not going to do YouTube very long. I kind of feel like that now, to be perfectly honest with you, because I don't want to go back. I want to keep going forward. It frankly just doesn't get the views, and that's why I stopped putting in so much effort, because I don't want to just be a dancing clown in a fishbowl. And the automotive world in YouTube truly is very saturated. I'll give you an example. So my Murcielago, I was working on it, and there was something kooky going on with the dash buttons, and I went online and I searched Murcielago dash button wiring, not expecting much to come up because it's a weird, rare car that most owners don't work on it themselves, let's be real. And there was a frickin' YouTube video on how to take the dash out of a Murcielago and like look at and service the buttons. And I'm just like, okay, the automotive world is way too saturated to do this like mainstay. It's just, this is too much. And I'm not gonna name the names right now, but getting into pissing matches with other automotive YouTubers sucks. And I'm gonna call a spade. You know, there was a big one that happened early on with a real creepy, low rent sleaze that I foolishly thought would be okay. Well, he wasn't. And that was kind of a mess. And then all his kooky fanboys are like attacking me. And that's the other thing that sucks about automotive YouTube. Everybody fanboys about different people, and they stop being reasonable human beings and watching something. And that's just not a real healthy effect. I mean, you see that with the car spotters and stuff at Cars and Coffee and whatnot. It's just, it's a bizarre little world unto itself. And it's not good. It doesn't really promote anything cool with the car community other than flexing. And that's shallow at best. But I just don't want to play the game. You know, the Ferrari 308 over there, my yellow one, I think you can see it in the video, it's behind the Viper. I was excited about that, and I thought about doing a build with it. And of course, Stanceworks cut up his Ferrari 308, which was nice to build his K-Series powered car. And yeah, I get it's lighter. But let's be real. That whole thing was blasphemy for the sake of popping the algorithm because he was K-swapping a Ferrari. And I frankly do expect him to get a cease and desist because I see things that relate to devaluing the market of vintage Ferraris and stuff, because now there's all these crazy fanboys that actually think a crummy little 4-cylinder Honda engine in a Ferrari is a good idea. It's not. You know, and I got with him, I said, hey, I'll take the motor you threw away and I'll build a car that's naturally aspirated that'll beat your K-Series Power 308. And he's like, great, let's do it. So I said, let's do it. And he goes, can't wait to see what you do with your 308. And I go, hold on. I just said I would build a car using the naturally aspirated engine you threw away that'd win. And he wouldn't go for it. I have to build my 308. I have to tell you this. Okay, that's a fine idea, but it's stupid. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to do that. I'm going to waste a lot of money and time to prove to idiots online that a K-Series? No, I have a life and better things to do. And the other thing is, a Ferrari 308 has already been built in history 1,000,000 times. It's called a 288 GTO and an F40. Both of those cars are twin turbo variants of a Ferrari 308. The Ferrari F40 in racing raced against McLaren F1 race cars, head to head. Yeah. Okay, I think that says enough about the positive aspect of that. And you know, Mike was, I think his name's Mike, was pretty cool afterward, and we kind of just let it die. But I was kind of pissed off about that. And I was going to build a car with this other Ferrari motor I got. And I thought that'd be cool because I wanted to show to everybody that you can build a car on the cheap. Because I guarantee he's got the better part of $100,000 in that Ferrari. And I just think it's all clickbait. To anybody that really knows, that was done to be clickbait. But he was cool. He actually donated $100 to Genius Garage, which is meaningful and nice, and I appreciate that. You know, and that helps me do things with students. But YouTube's stupid. Automotive YouTube is stupid. It really is. People are building things and doing things for a reality that doesn't exist. They're doing it for the reality of YouTube. Well, I was a car person before I got on YouTube. And I don't have the stomach to just be a dancing clown for the sake of the algorithm. I like building good cars that can actually do something and go somewhere because it makes sense and has an ROI and not wasting money for the sake of money and screwing with cops for the sake of screwing with cops. And just being on YouTube alone gives you opportunities, but also makes you a weird target to be taken advantage of by, you know, for me with Genius Garage, CEOs. This one piece of crap who's the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, act all special and everything, come in, help Genius Garage and everything like that. We're going to donate a bunch of money. And they did donate some money the first year, not a ton, a decent amount. But then he expected us to go to a particular race and not the one he wanted because he was going to have a bunch of people from his company there. And he wanted to show off from and look really philanthropic, even though it was the company's money. And then later, multiple times has the company do presentations to me about how Genius Garage and the company can work together and they can have students recruiting and they can come in and teach my students and all that stuff. But not once in the presentations did they ever talk about doing anything for the nonprofit. So let me translate that to you, what these idiots at this Fortune 500 company and their moron asshole CEO thought. Oh, Casey's just going to work for free mentoring all these students, and we're not going to help the nonprofit or students in any way, shape, and form, but we're going to bring in people to teach them what to do and recruit. How about, CEO, go f yourself. Shove it up your ass, you stupid sociopath, Machiavellian, dark triad piece of shit with a smile. I'm not stupid, I'm polite. There's a difference. Being polite is a weapon against this shit because you can sniff it out quickly. Oh my God, I hate these people. Most recently, I had another guy promise Genius Garage last year $15,000 to bring out the F1 and be cool after McLaren wasted our effing time for 8 months, and he stiffed us. And then I was going to do some business together with this guy, and I had a bad gut feeling, and I'm like, I got to bring this up. I can't do any business with this guy if he won't actually make good on what he was doing. And I brought it up, and the dude completely cut off communication and told me never to talk to him again. He freaking stiffs a charity of 15 grand, which makes him a bad CEO and kind of an emotionally reactive, damaged idiot, because if he was a good CEO or at least a little manipulative, he would have looked at it and go, hey, it's worth $15,000 in the write-off just to keep Casey and all this on the hook. But he blew up in a kooky, emotionally reactive way. I just hate these people. And they come out of the woodwork when you're on YouTube and people watch you, and especially when you're doing a nonprofit, because they want to look good for doing nothing. Well, f them. Like, I'm sorry, guys. Like, I can't not be real on this channel anymore. It's the thing that takes all the joy out of this. So I'm going to just stop there with the crappiness. It's everywhere. When you get to the end of every road in cars that are cool, it's rich guys and egos. And you can't coexist there unless you're a rich guy. You don't have to have an ego. You can be cool. I met some really amazing people out there, but they're few and far between. The sad thing about cars, especially cool cars, fast cars, muscular cars, shiny cars, exotic cars, they bring out so many people with bizarre personality disorders. I once said, if you want to find the most sociopaths you can as quickly as possible, just find the biggest gathering of Lamborghini owners, or at least exotic car owners. And I stand by that, which makes it really disappointing to love cars for the sake of cars and racing and their history and have some, because then you're associated with these pieces of garbage. I don't want to be around them anymore. I don't want to do automotive YouTube like this anymore. I did a video where I told you like a couple automotive YouTubers I like. Wesley Keegan did the Porsche cart. He's a great guy. Ben Beams, he's this dude, small channel, built his own Ford GT40 and his own Lotus 38 and made his own monocoque chassis. That's a cool dude. He's the real deal. And my slot car guy, Fast Sports, just pleasant. So there's some out there, but they don't have big channels. I guess I wanted to share this heart to heart with you guys because I've gone as far as I either can or will allow myself to go down every road in the car world I can. I've done a lot. Built a worthwhile educational program that helped people get amazing jobs in industry for a decade with high-end cars. Helped younger people get jobs and get into school. Built flying dinosaurs and airplanes and race cars with people. Built my own cars, restored them, been to concours, built the world's only turbine-powered Batmobile, built a 100-mile-a-gallon recyclable car, coach build stuff, all of it. I've done a lot. Played around with racing and found I'm not wealthy. You can't go do that. So it's time to throttle back. It's kind of disappointing. It is. But I flipped over every stone in the world I possibly could. And what's left at a point? Just having a car dealership and buying and selling? I mean, fine, if you make a living, great. That works for a lot of people. I'm going to spend my whole life just trying to get a more expensive or more rare car. I've already had a lot of cars that are rare and fast and cool, and I've got really cool cars now. I don't need anything better. I don't. I might want something in the future, but like I can calm down, and still build stuff. So after 10 years of doing Genius Garage, I'm still doing it, but I'm going to mentor individuals part-time so I don't destroy my own life and help them get places, but do it in a way that just is a little healthier for me. And enjoy my cars. I'd like to go to the track. I'd like to have some fun, and I'd like to be low-key. I don't want to be some big kooky YouTuber. I don't want assholes at a go-kart race trying to take me out and sabotaging my go-kart because they're jealous that I have an exotic car and a YouTube channel. Get a f***ing life. So I don't know how many public events I'm going to go to and races. I think I'm going to lay pretty low and just be chill to myself, especially when I take the cars out, because I just want to be the kid on the go-kart again. Metaphorically speaking and literally speaking. I just want to have fun. So that's why I've throttled back with this, because I couldn't see any way forward that made sense. So my new YouTube channel, Casey's Golden Shovel, means a lot to me. I'm really enjoying it. It's not just a rant channel. I think it's what I really need to be doing on YouTube because it allows me to talk about concepts of the world and life and history in a way that's relatable and fun. So I hope you guys check that out and subscribe to it because I'm all in, baby. It's going to be interesting. Somewhat controversial at times, I'm sure. But in terms of the car channel, I'm just going to throttle back. Let it be the hobby channel. Let it be what I like. Maybe I'll make more videos, maybe I'll like less, but for those of you all that have followed, I think you're really going to enjoy the journey from here on out. I think I'll be a little more chill, a little happier. So the blue Viper is basically done for this stage. Time to go test it on the track. I got to put the turbofan wheels on, or the covers. I haven't done that yet. But really happy about that. Really happy about the shop looking good. And it's time to work on the Omega car. And I'm going to talk about it on my new channel, The Golden Shovel, and have it on there as well. I'd like to do some tours around the United States and show that. and probably get some very fascinating public figures to talk about it, because you know we're in an election year and it's big talking points the world over relating to energy, internal combustion, electric cars, all these sorts of things. There's a lot of propaganda and bullshit out there. And I know there's a lot of bullshit out there because a decade ago I built a car that could be low environmental impact and high miles per gallon and more sustainably manufacturable. So I think that'll be nice. I think that gets me back to where I need to be. And of late, I've been finishing projects of my own. The other trap for YouTube and YouTubers is the same trap a lot of people fall into. It's easy to buy a new car. I mean, of course, you've had the money. It's always easy to buy something or sell something. It's easy to get a project and start a project. But what's hard is finishing projects. And the trouble is, all those easy things in the car world, buying a new car, oh, reveal, selling a new car, oh, it's over. Getting a new project, screwing with the cops, doing all the things that are easy in life is what does well on YouTube. But it's the hard things that do well in real life. Making good choices, finishing projects, seeing things through. But that doesn't do well on YouTube. So I want to keep doing the hard things. And that's why of lately I've been finishing projects, even if they're small. In my house, here, the Viper, the go-kart, the Ducati, that old-timey trunk on the back of the Buick, stuff like that. Like, get them done. And that feels good. Clean up the whole shop. Make it workable. And that's done a load of good for me. But now it's time for a new chapter of the future. And on this channel, I'm gonna throttle back a little bit, and it's just gonna be Casey the car guy, just doing stuff. I don't have any windmills to go tilting at. I'm not gonna try to go professionally racing. I don't need that. I'm gonna do my own builds and my own cool cars. We might go to the track from time to time. Who knows, maybe I'll drive something neat. It's gonna be a great adventure again. But it's time for a new chapter. So I do hope you subscribe to Casey's Golden Shovel. Obviously stay subscribed here because there's good stuff coming up like the Omega car and whatnot. But I wanted to share this with you guys because Automotive YouTube, if you want to do it at any level where you could actually make a living at it, it's not the real world. It's not even a very nice world. And I don't really want to be in that world. So I'm going to still do this and do it well. I'm going to do the other aspect of YouTube and social media higher, you know, like you would for a living. Really, it's important to me. And we're going to have a good time. And I hope that means something to you. If it doesn't, for all the people that already clicked out or commented below nasty and whatever, who are you? Have you ever done anything with your life? You know anything? Do you even have a car? Shut up. Y'all get tired of the losers eventually. Just screw them. And that's the other reason why I knew it was time to get out, because I just started being a bigger dick to people in the comments, because I don't care. And a lot of people deserve for somebody to be a dick to them. They need to be smacked back down. It's just uncalled for. So that's it, guys. I'm just going to go be a kooky car guy. If you want to watch, you want to watch. And that's it. Go to my new channel. I'll catch you later. I should drive my go-kart. Yes.